I'll let you check that view out for a minute before I step into the frame. That's the Pacific Ocean out there from Tamarindo, Costa Rica. Came up here to take in the view. But you know what I can't see from up here? No matter how hard I try? There's no Second Amendment in sight here in Costa Rica. As beautiful a country it is and as kind and generous as the people are, nope, no Bill of Rights, no Second Amendment. It's gorgeous up here though. I'm up here in Tamarindo at a jiu-jitsu camp with Coach Henry Akins and our coach Dan Hart. And during the week I'm still checking messages, and I'm getting a lot of messages from people at home concerned about the attacks on the Second Amendment. Questions like I got yesterday: what can I do right now? And that's what I want to talk about with you guys. What can we as individuals do right now to protect the Second Amendment? First of all, I would challenge you to begin to think about your ability to protect the Constitution in the same way you would protect yourself. I don't mean with fists or guns or jiu-jitsu, but I mean the pragmatic approach to how you dissect the problem, right? So me protecting myself and my wife here in Tamarindo is a different problem than me protecting myself at home in the United States. Me protecting myself with a group of 20 or 30 jiu-jitsu practitioners is a different problem than me protecting myself alone. Me protecting myself in the woods of Maine versus the coasts of California. Different problems require different solutions. We keep looking at protecting our Constitution as a political problem. People say, well, I want to help, but I don't want to get involved in politics. Good. Don't get involved in politics. Politics is theater. Politics is the game that politicians play for us, the voter. And as soon as you see that game and you remove yourself as a pawn in the game, as a piece moved about on the chessboard of the game, and you begin to elevate yourself above it and see it for what it is, you take power. You are not a pawn. You are a citizen of this great republic. So the first thing that you can do is identify, how can I defend the Constitution? How can I defend the republic? And it really starts with a deep education of it. Not just reading the documents, but reading what the founders intended. So that requires you to read the writings of men like John Locke, Aristotle, Plato, Socrates, and others. And in doing so, you will start to find more names, more people to read about. You will read about things that are heart-wrenching. The terrible travesties that the colonial people did to the folks of the Americas. You will read about things that you didn't know about, sacrifices, acts of heroism. You will read about things that maybe you've never thought about because you only have a view from what your grade school or high school teachers taught you or what you hear through the media. Education is the number one thing that you can do to help protect and defend this great nation, well, the great nation up north. And the reason I say that is, as we started this discussion talking about protecting yourself, you don't go and just buy a gun and put it on yourself, right? You think about, what's the best gun for me? What's the best holster? What's the best ammunition? And then you think about, how do I train with this? Where do I carry it on my body? How is a proper draw stroke look? What does safety look like? What parts of a bad guy do I aim at? What are the legal, ethical, and moral ramifications for self-defense? How do I de-escalate a situation verbally? How do I pay attention so I don't get into a problem like that? What training should I get? Should I invest training in rappelling? There's a telephone pole next to me. Rappelling down things, or should I invest energy in possibly learning some basic medical interventions? Should I invest energy in underwater rescue, or should I invest energy in teaching my kids and my wife and my family basic fire escape from our home and practicing that once a month? This is planning. This is the same thing if you apply it to the Constitution through knowledge. You understand the problems that you're trying to solve. Most of us don't need to be skilled at tower rescue or high angle rescue or underwater rescue, but all of us should know CPR. All of us should have a plan to escape our home in a fire. All of us should have a plan in case our home is invaded by burglars at night. As such, that information that you are gleaning through studying the functions of our republic it's going to give you a better understanding in how to defend it. The number one thing that you and I can do is become excellent voters. What do I mean by excellent voters? That doesn't mean show up and vote every time there's an election. Yes, you need to do that. It means that you need to challenge those that are running. Sir, madam, I would like to know what your stance is on raising taxes in our community. I would like to know, if you raise the taxes, what you plan to do with that money. Sir, madam, if I vote for you, what is your stance on the Second Amendment? End of the question. And let them answer. If they start giving you some circle answer that doesn't pin down what you're looking for, well, I think that, there's a reason for some, What you want to hear is, I appreciate that question, Mr. Would-Be Voter or Miss Would-Be Voter. I think the Second Amendment is a sacred part of our Constitution that separates us from most of the world. Our founders understood that we, the people, have a right to rule ourselves. We are not governed by those that we elect, but those that we elect represent us. We are governed by ourselves. That's the kind of answer you're looking for. Maybe you should run for office. It's not about politics. That's the problem, is that we look at politics. Politics is the theater that media creates. Politics is the theater that politicians create. The fictitious needs and angst and desires of, we got to do this, we got to do that. That's all smoke and mirrors. And at the end of the day, it's not that there's a conspiracy or isn't a conspiracy. It's that it's people imposing their will on us through that charade, the theater that is politics. It's no different than like e-entertainment. People put out what they want you to see. So instead, you need to decide what you need to see, just like in defense of self. I'm not concerned about those school children. I am concerned about that group of gangbangers. I'm not concerned about that puppy. I am concerned about that pack of wild dogs. I'm not concerned about that parked car. I am concerned about that truck swerving towards me. You learned what information is important. Most of the crap that we see in the news isn't important, which causes us to waste energy, time, emotional stress to us when we can't sleep at night, or we're so worried about what's going to happen with our families, our jobs. Is the government going to come take my guns away? No, they're not. Why not? Because people like us are continuing to fight that. And how do we fight it? Not by social media posts, but by being educated voters, excellent voters, which correlates into being excellent members of this republic. So here's a challenge to you, and I've talked about this often on this channel and others. We are a republic. We are not a democracy. We are a democratic republic. We are a republic which uses the democratic voting process. There's a big difference there, and I challenge you to do a half an hour of research on that to fully understand and appreciate what that means. As a republic, you and I, are the members of this nation. We do not have a parliament or a monarchy which bestows rights upon us, but you and I together collectively decide how we will live here up north, not here in Costa Rica. When we understand that, we take a different appreciation for it, just like we would our homes, our families. I look at our nation just like I look at my home, my family. This place is mine. Not mine as in I own everything, but this is mine. Just like you should, wherever you live in the nation as a whole, when you see our flag, not just in some weird, loose sense of patriotism, but you should take ownership in it, even the bad. The reason that we own the bad is because we are to blame for it. You may say, no, I'm not to blame for it, but in fact we are. We are through our lack of effort, our apathy, or just not paying attention, laziness. We need to be involved. Formulate a plan based on education. We talk about this often, and guys will tell me, no, I don't need to read documents that don't make sense. They make sense. The challenge is it may require you to broaden your vocabulary. It may require you to do some research on definitions and things like that. It may require you to maybe speak to an attorney or somebody in your community that understands some of the phrasing. But if you're going to take it seriously, take it seriously. The owning of a gun or carrying of a gun is an expression of a right. It is not really the right. The right is whether or not, it doesn't matter if you do it or don't. I can have free speech if I never talk, if I never sing, if I never write. I still have free speech. We have a right to the Second Amendment regardless of if we carry a gun, shoot a gun, etc. So people say, well, you know, I'm really into the Second Amendment, I carry a gun. No, you're into carrying a gun. You're not into the Bill of Rights or the Constitution. We need to appreciate all of them and the ramifications that all of them have on each other. Founders were great and intelligent people, but they did not know everything, nor did they know the challenges that would face us today. They didn't realize that we could communicate through small little plastic devices from across the globe to each other, which is amazing. As such, we face new challenges, new hurdles, but as such, we have a greater access to information. There is no excuse for you or I not to be deeply educated on the subject. Imagine this. Imagine if the next time you were having a lively debate with an anti-gun, anti-Second Amendment person, you had all the facts. Imagine if you were able to articulate a clear and concise argument. Imagine if you were able to kindly, politely, but firmly have a rebuttal for every and all parts of an argument against your viewpoint. Imagine if you could articulate with fervor, with patriotic love, and respect for the person you're arguing with. I don't mean arguing like, but arguing as in having a debate, one viewpoint versus another. Imagine if you could do that kindly, politely, but articulately with clear and concise answers. That's how arguments are won. Not because you yell, not because you've got some Second Amendment shirt on, not because you own more guns. None of that stuff matters. Logic, reason. Our founders loved logic, reason, and science because they were not subjective. They were objective. You could look at it and say, this is this. The shirt is black. Well, it could be white, it could be green. No, it is black. Why? Because we decided collectively that this is what black looks like, right? It's a point I'm making. Here's a challenge. Do not look at it as if we are fighting politicians. You're not. Step out of that arena. Elevate yourself above that stupid chessboard and see yourself as a vital and important member of this great republic. You are no less important than the Congress people or representatives that support you and serve you. You are no less important than the senators, governor, or even president in this republic. That's the way this works. That person may have a role that allows them more access, but you are no less important in this republic. Own that. Educate yourself just like you would if you were protecting yourself or your family. Be able to articulate a clear and concise discussion and argument, if need be, as to why the Bill of Rights is as it is, as to where these documents came from, as to why the founders crafted them as they did. And then become an excellent voter. In doing so, what we're talking about here is creating a cultural shift. See, we're not fighting like this. What we're doing is we're creating a cultural shift. And if you pay attention to what I'm saying, this is exactly what anti-gun people have been doing for decades. A cultural shift. They've been vilifying people like us. They've been vilifying firearms. They've been vilifying in hillbillyifying, made that word up, anything that coincides with the things we believe in. Patriotism, family, pride in our communities, pride in a good old-fashioned work ethic, love for country and God. They've vilified many of those things to make our opinions, our viewpoints, our stances look crazy, make us look crazy, which means that then we're not articulating a discussion. Now we're just crazy people yelling. Is that how you're viewed, or do you wish to be viewed as somebody that's scholarly, somebody that's done their homework, somebody that so appreciates what's at stake that they know the cost, they know what needs to be done, and they put the work in? They have done the same thing that I'm talking about. It's a cultural issue that goes much broader, much wider and much deeper than just some fight for gun rights. I'm not oversimplifying it. What I'm talking about is a global view of what's happening and what's always happened versus just some finite battle, okay? It's not, we got to fight this House bill, or we've got to fight this Senate bill, or we've got to pay attention to this court case. Yes, those things are important, but those things come about because of the broader cultural shift. We need to be better. We need to become better stewards of this great republic. We need to respect and appreciate it, just like we would our families and our homes. And I guarantee if you do that, if you educate yourself to a point that you can articulate clearly and concisely your point, what's at stake and why, you're going to get a lot farther. Treat your vote as if it is as sacred a thing as ever been handed to you, because it is. The vote that we are handed here should not be wasted. Never just check boxes. Research who you're voting for. Research why. Research who they are. Don't just sign petitions to put people on ballots. Ask questions. Maybe run for office yourself. I'm happy to be here. This place is gorgeous. I've spent over a week here with my wife and family and some friends, and it's amazing. But there's nothing like home, because there's no place in the world that protects its people with the rights that we have like America does. No place. And there probably never will be. Mickey with CarryTrainer.com. If you've not subscribed to this channel, please do. If this video was helpful in any way, share it. If you've got some viewpoints that you want to put down in the comments section, do that. I'll try to go through there and we can chat it out. I'm not here to bicker or to argue. If you don't agree with me, you can put that in the comments too, but I'm not going to get into some heated debate with you if I don't agree, because heated debates don't go anywhere. Love you. Be well. Don't be dickheads. I'll leave you with that view for a minute. Peace out.
I said I got me some gunfighter gun oil. Gunfighter gun oil, baby. Gunfighter gun oil, no more gunfighter blue. Made in the USA. Amazing lubricity. 100% synthetic, baby. So it's gonna last you longer. So go on CarryTrainer.com and order yourself some gunfighter gun oil, gunfighter lube, to get rid of your gunfighter blues. I said go on and order yourself some gunfighter lube. Yeah!